Hey, welcome back everybody. I'm Lou, and this is Metal Lens Reviews. What's up? So, if this happens to be your first time tuning into my channel, and you like what you see, thank you. Please do me the favor of like, comment, subscribe. As I mentioned before, it really helps me grow the channel, of course, provide you guys with more content to watch. So, guess what? We're going to be doing another Real Talk podcast with yours truly. This is the segment on my channel where I just kind of pick a random subject and talk about it to the best of my abilities. So very candid, a lot of overthinking because this is all unedited and just me pretty much rambling on some random subject that I kind of know something about. In fact, the subject today, OCD, anxiety, and everything that revolves around that. I actually experienced it. It's kind of embarrassing, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Very, very recent. I went out a couple days ago to a bar. Now, prior to this, I want to say from... well, even going back years, I had no problem going to a place by myself. When you have opposite schedules of your friends or someone you're dating, whatever, and you want to enjoy life, you tend to go out by yourself. I think it's completely normal if you go to the movies by yourself. It might come off as sad to some people, but other times, what are you going to do? Wait around. You'll go insane. Don't get me wrong. If you got friends, you want to go out with them, you got to plan it, do that. But if you can't, you got to do, shit like this, like I'm about to discuss here. Going to the movies by yourself. I wouldn't go to a restaurant by myself. That's kind of sucky. But I would definitely eat at a bar by myself. I went to I would get in a fight with, said person, and then I would go out and, find a local bar. Luckily, where I live, there's a couple. And not get annihilated, but just, drink just to kind of cope with the situation. I'm not one of those persons that engage physically in an argument, because it always kind of leads to a fight. Sometimes physical, sometimes verbal. I'm not one to stick around because at the moment, I really have to contemplate what I'm going to say. That's how I work, Some people could, think on the fly. I can't do that. Sometimes I can, if I know the subject or the situation a little bit better than the other person, but most of the time it's overwhelming, and I just kind of walk out. I collect myself, I go have a drink, and that was the routine until recently it changed. But sometimes, because most of my friends, they have opposite schedules or what have you, whatever, life, If I have to go out myself, I'll do it. And it was kind of easy. And then recently, literally a couple days ago, but even before that, I didn't really have much of a hard time. Like I said, it's always busy going out with a buddy or a friend or a group of people, whatever, normal stuff. But, given the situation, you got to go out by yourself. Now, here lies the problem. I guess I've become more aware of my surroundings, whatever, the older you get. And there was one situation, very recent, where it took me an hour to get into a local bar, not because of a wait, but because of the crowd. So they have, ever since COVID, a lot of bars have outside seating, and those spots tend to get crowded because people go out and smoke or, conversate, I guess, outdoors from the bar. And so I'm literally circling this place, going around the block, like a shark, waiting for this crowd that they never clear. It was frustrating. So I'm like, all right, man, it's already an hour. I just want to sit down and have a drink, But because my anxiety is going through the roof, I couldn't. It was so nerve-wracking. I walked 2 miles and then backtracked in hopes of this place to be clear, and it still wasn't. So luckily, normally if you do something distracting, if you look at your phone or pretend you're on the phone, whatever. I don't even know why it's an issue. I know I'm not alone. I'm sure people have the same issue, especially if you overthink things or you got, anxiety issues. Hey, we're all human. But I could see where it comes off. It's kind of frustrating, annoying, especially if you're socially awkward or whatever, hey, these things happen and they suck, So when I did eventually get myself in, so you know what it is, I'm afraid of walking in, and, most bars, are usually shaped like either an L or like a U, and most people, if they're not in like couples, who usually sit like at like, tables where you go eat, the bar is usually packed by just some people hanging out at the bar because it's convenient. You could, hail down the waiter or the bartender, get you a drink instead of having to like, wave at them from like a mile away. I get it, but I'm afraid of going in and then there not being a seat. You know what I mean? What am I going to do? Sit at a table by myself? It's just, I don't know, it feels weird, So that's what I did. I got in, I kind of scoped it out a little bit. Luckily, there was a seat. Someone must have just got up, all right? Because I could see it from the outside, and it looked even more crowded. I was like, you got to be kidding. So not only do I have to pass through this random group of people, I have to, like, find a seat, which is nerve-wracking. Through a bunch of, a wave of strangers. I made it, and yeah, it wasn't that frustrating. Yeah, once I got in, I sat down, I did my thing. Luckily, it's one of those places that have like an app that controls the jukebox, so I could put on music or whatever, and it wound up being a cool night. But look at the extent I had to go to. It's ridiculous, right? I'm gonna try it again next week, or I don't know, whenever. Hopefully I'll have a group of people of my own to, pretend I don't have anxiety to go through, but whatever. These things happen. I just want to get off my chest. OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Yeah, that's it, right? OCD? Yeah, all right. Anyway, that's always been like a part of my life, really. And I could not have that. I could not have any of these, the anxiety. It could be just made up in my head, but I feel like I have them. And everyone under the sun claims they have some kind of disorder today, so, and I'm just going to jump on the bandwagon. Not making fun, but, it's just one of those things, but I truly think I have OCD because I know, especially at work, so I'm like in charge of this little area that has a lot of condiments. So I work in food service, salt, pepper, whatever, stuff you would put on like sandwiches and whatnot. For me, the way I stock, it's got to be like even, you know what I mean? Like, when you go in your workplace and maybe it's a mess from the previous shift, who wants to hear it from like the shift manager or whatever, your boss, even though clearly it was the person before you that made the mistake. I don't want that lingering over my head, so I'll shut up sometimes. I'll complain, but not overbearing. It's gotten some times where I just want to like, freaking yell and just, bang on the glass and tell my manager, look at this shit, but I'm not going to do that. Thinking about it though, probably not. Anyway, yeah, does that bother you guys too? I don't know. In a perfect world, everything would be left fully stocked or neat in your workplace. Through the previous shift, would leave your workplace okay, at least. I get it though, depending on what you're doing, what your job is. Who knows what the previous person went through, right? Maybe it was a big, hard shift or something complicated going on, but still, if you got that time right before you leave, because it would sit on my conscience, like if I didn't do something I was supposed to do, unless it's been like a really, really crap day. But most of the time, I give myself enough space to do what I gotta do, stock, and then, to make it look decent before I leave. That's what I'm getting at here. But I get it. Things get in the way, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, those two things, man, you would think as you get older, your mental capacity, you get more of a grasp on it, right? Not quite, I don't know what it is, it's like, you have all this prep in this building, and then it just kind of, goes away, that, that you think like the shyness goes away, but it still lingers sometimes. I don't know. I think it's because when you get older, you become, I think I mentioned it before, you become more self-aware of your surroundings. You start looking a little bit more, feeling things out, you're more street smart, and that kind of plays against your, your mental capabilities, how you perceive situations, fight or flight, Same thing on the subway. You know who to look out for, or sometimes you don't. The person next to you who's in the business suit could be a psychopath. The guy, who looks like he's been through some stuff, he could be a perfect person, gentleman, whatever, So it's not just about perception. It's about, I, I guess, the mood and, how you feel out the situation. You always got to be on your guard, I think, especially now. But, I think those things are important. You should definitely worry about, where you're going, like, especially if you go out any time of the night, because today isn't like 9 or 10 years ago, where it was, I don't want to say safer, but I don't know, it just was more flexible. The environment was a little more friendly, and it just felt different, But today, God knows what the hell happened. That's why I say you always got to be self-aware. But yeah, crowded places, they kind of bother me. I mean, except the movie theater. I mean, you can't really help that, because a movie theater is a movie theater. So it may or may not be crowded. But, recently, also, earlier in this month, there was a comic convention that I went to. And it was great. I loved it. It was awesome. The waiting sucked, but that's kind of given. But other than that, it just, the crowd of people, because, it's like every person for themselves. You're literally following the person in front of you. There's no direction like that, like that. It's been so long that these events have been happening. You would think they would get some kind of structure. So I only went 2 days. First day was like, it was a little easy. You have to find your way around. Second day was pure chaos. Like, even people with like special passes, you pay a little more to get the better treatment. By the second day, it goes back to that every man for himself bullshit. So, but there's crowds, there's people you don't know. I went myself, but like I said, it was enjoyable. It was fun. You meet some interesting people. But once again, like I think it's a better experience, especially if you're with your family or friends or whatever. Something you could share the experience with. But some people have no problem going by themselves. I was kind of in between, But yeah, I mean, hey, look, for what it was, I definitely enjoyed it. But yeah, it was a little awkward, traveling by yourself. The anxiety was there because you're among a bunch of people you don't know, and you're thinking like, oh God, even though, I mean, you're in the most, nerd capital, in the world, at these events, they're filled with the same people that like all pop culture, all the stuff you would normally like, But still, you're like, oh my God, like what, I hope I dress right. These little nitpicking things go in the back of your head, and you're like, oh man, what am I doing? But it's just one of those weird situations. Yeah, it's crazy. I never thought I'd be that guy complaining about, traveling by yourself, I can't imagine going to, like, another I mean, I don't think, then again, I don't know. Like, if I were to go to, like, another country by myself, right away, like, every horror movie, I feel like starts that way, Some bachelor goes to, like, Eastern Europe, and then, boom, they're gone. Hostile. Or something. But, I don't know. Once again, that's perception. I'm sure people do it all the time. But yeah, all that stuff. Anxiety, OCD, panic attacks, all those things are real, I mean, I don't think I needed to tell you guys that, but they are. It's creepy. And it's just, it's kind of bothersome because you never think, like, oh, how bad is it? Maybe people are exaggerating until you experience it yourself, and you're like, Especially like, a panic attack. I never got panic attacks until I got older, and I always used to think that was like a young thing. I never thought people would get old, and then as they get older, they would because once again, I think you're getting old, experience different things. you build up that resume of street smart. You know, your body's able to handle different stuff. But then again, nah, man. God, but when I get like phone people that call me like with numbers that I don't know. It could be like a telemarketer or something. I don't answer my phone. I let it go right to voicemail. But then I'm thinking like, oh man, was that someone important? Maybe I should have answered it. I don't know. Or trying to call someone, man. Like I do everything. If I have the ability to order something and it show up to my house, whether it be Amazon, Instacart, I'll do it. Whatever, convenience, whatever. I know it's there. It's a thing we pay for. I don't care. Call it what you will. I use it. I like it. It's very, very convenient. And you know, we live in it's the future, so I feel like we're allowed to do stuff like that. I mean, sure, you want to look at a product yourself, you got to go there. I get that. I know, but if life gets in the way of you traveling, I don't see a problem in Amazon Prime or Instacart or DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub. They were created and boosted, during the pandemic because people, because traveling was limited as it was. Some people, I feel like got even more anxiety after COVID, because it was always that fear that what if, the person next to you could be sick and you not know it, whatever. So I'm glad those things were invented, but, I always think, to experience life, you got to be front and center. But for those that have issues, sure, it's not a problem, But to, call up for like a doctor's appointment or, I don't know, something serious, pay for a bill online or, I don't know, call up some medical service for some situation, I got to build myself up to do it, I'm sure other people do that too. I can't be the only one. But it's like, because now you got to worry about, like, getting connected to the right person, explaining yourself. I have, like, a little stutter, so it gets in the way sometimes. So I literally have to write, like, a script that I have to rehearse sometimes. Yeah, man, the struggle's real, But these are all minor issues. Other people are just nonverbal. They have such social anxiety issues that they just shut down completely. That's how they deal, or it's their body, going through that fight or flight kind of ordeal. And shit gets real, man. I get it. It could be a traumatic experience that could be coming back out. Something, you pushed back in your mind, regressed, but now it's coming back out again. And, flashbacks, people that served overseas probably have some PTSD issues. Whatever these are, they're all completely normal situations. Some people get help. Some people deal with it themselves. So I lay somewhere in between. It's just one of those things, And like I said, it doesn't make you a weirdo or nothing. It's completely normal. Some people have it worse than others, whether it be anxiety, OCD, other, social issues. Life does get in the way. I'll keep saying that. But the little things that make you happy in life, don't let them get that. Keep on keeping at it. The littlest bit of victory, like I said, I think I mentioned this before some time ago. The little tiny things that you can hold on to that make you happy, or those little tiny victories that make you feel good, keep doing that. Because that's the lifeline you're hanging on to, Of course, keep adulting. Keep doing grown-up stuff. Do you. Work on yourself. And everything in between. Because just remember, I don't know if this will make you feel any better, but there's always someone worse off than you. It's worse for a real world? I don't know. I can't talk anymore. That's another thing, too. When you get older, your vocabulary gets all, weird and jumbled up and stuff. But, yeah, like I said, don't put yourself down too much. That's what I always say. Because at the end of the day, it makes part of your personality. And, don't change, unless you really, really feel like it's an issue, then go ahead, by all means, improve. But, don't doubt yourself, don't down yourself, boost yourself up if you can. Just don't become a narcissist, Other than that, just keep on keeping on, Well, this was kind of fun, right? I could talk more and more, but I feel like at this point it would just sound repetitive, and I'll probably stumble on a bunch of other words, you know. So throughout this, I apologize for all the weird wording I have sometimes. It's been a while since I did one of these, so you know. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about it. I thought it was a funny story, the whole anxiety trip I had. You know, imagine, you know, like going to your corner store, but you can't go in because there's people outside conversating. And now you gotta, you know, like, oh my god, do I engage? Do I just bypass them? What do you do? You know, weird little shit like that. You wouldn't think of bother some people, including yours truly. But whatever, you know, it's all part of growing up. It's part of life. And how you deal with it is how you deal with it, you know. But like I said, you know, life finds a way, you know, and you'll find a way. Everyone going through anything finds either, like I said, that small victory, that one thing that makes them, you know, proud, or that one thing you look forward to after a week of working. Whatever it is that make you happy, keep at it. Trust me, it's good. It's like taking vitamins. All right, guys. That's really all I got to say. I want to hear what you guys have to, say, or what are your thoughts about this? Comment below. I'm always interested. I read them as much as I can. Until next time, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all very, 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 very soon. Peace.